5 Minutes Peace by Jill Murphy. The children were having breakfast. This was not a pleasant sight. Mrs. Large took a tray from the cupboard. She set it up with a teapot, a milk jug, her favourite cup and saucer, a plate of marmalade toast and a leftover cake from yesterday. She stuffed the morning paper into her pocket and sneaked off towards the door. "Where are you going with that tray, Mum?" asked Laura. "To the bathroom," said Mrs. Large. "Why?" asked the other children. "Because I want 5 minutes peace from you lot," said Mrs. Large. "That's why." "Can we come?" asked Lester as they trailed up the stairs behind her. "No," said Mrs. Large, "you can't." "What shall we do then?" asked Laura. "You can play," said Mrs. Large, "downstairs, by yourselves, and keep an eye on the baby." "I am not a baby," muttered the little one. Mrs. Large ran a deep, hot bath. She emptied half a bottle of bath to foam into the water, plunked on her bath hat and got in. She poured herself a cup of tea and lay back with her eyes closed. It was heaven. "Can I play you my tune?" asked Lester. Mrs. Large opened one eye. "Must you?" she asked. "I've been practising," said Lester. "You told me to. Can I, please, just for 1 minute?" "Go on then," sighed Mrs. Large. So Lester played. He played Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star 3.5 times. In came Laura. "Can I read you a page from my reading book?" she asked. "No, Laura," said Mrs. Large. "Go on, all of you, off downstairs." "You let Lester play his tune," said Laura. "I heard. You like him better than me. It's not fair." "Oh, don't be silly, Laura," said Mrs. Large. "Go on then, just 1 page." So Laura read. She read 4.5 pages of Little Red Riding Hood. In came the little one with the trunk full of toys. "For you," he beamed, flinging them all into the bathwater. "Thank you, dear," said Mrs. Large weakly. "Can I see the cartoons in the paper?" asked Laura. "Can I have the cake?" asked Lester. "Can I get in with you?" asked the little one. Mrs. Large groaned. In the end, they all got in. The little one was in such a hurry that he forgot to take off his pyjamas. Mrs. Large got out. She dried herself, put on her dressing gown and headed for the door. "Where are you going now, Mum?" asked Laura. "To the kitchen," said Mrs. Large. "Why?" asked Lester. "Because I want 5 minutes peace from you lot," said Mrs. Large. "That's why." And off she went downstairs, where she had 3 minutes and 45 seconds of peace before they all came to join her. So today we are going to have a look at one of the 4 different types of sentences. So there are 4 types of sentences. There are statements, commands, exclamations, and questions. All sentences fall under one of these 4 categories. Statements and commands use full stops. Exclamations use exclamation marks, and questions use question marks. For today, we are going to look at commands. Now, a command tells us what to do. By its nature, it is bossy. So a command tells us what to do. We will come across them in lots of different walks of life. We are going to have a go at following some commands. We will say some commands. We will read some. We'll write some. We'll make sure that we can use the correct punctuation. But we are going to learn all about commands today. So before we play a little game, let's first of all see if we can follow some commands. So let's start with stand up, sit down, jump up and down, wave your hands, pat your head, touch your nose, stick out your tongue, close your eyes, find a pen. If you didn't have something close, it really doesn't matter. Blow your nose, tidy your room. I wonder how many times you hear that one. Tidy your space. Sit down. Hopefully you're there and you're ready. Commands are basically instructions. They tell us what to do and they are bossy. So let's play a little game together first. So my game is called Simon Says, and I will say, Simon says, touch your nose. And if Simon says it, then we do it. But if Simon doesn't say it and I'm just sneaky and I just say, touch your nose. If you do touch your nose, then you're out of the game, okay? So let's see whether or not we can listen super carefully and only do the commands that Simon says. So Simon says, point to your eyes. Simon says, pat your head. Touch your nose. If you touched your nose, then you're out. Okay. Simon says, rub your belly. Simon says, clap your hands. Stop. If you stopped, it was my instruction. Simon didn't say it. Simon says, touch your shoulders. Simon says, stick out your tongue. Simon says, tap your head. Simon says, close your eyes. Open them. If you open them, then you're out. Simon says, wiggle your fingers. Simon says, clap your hands. Simon says, wave your hands. Simon says, stop. It's a silly game, but you could play it with anybody if you haven't before, and you could practice saying commands. In order for a command to be successful, the person receiving it has to know what to do. So the what in this sentence is a verb, is a doing word. So verbs are doing or being words. It's a doing word, and it's what we call an imperative verb. So it's a bossy verb and it tells us what to do. So in our game, we had point, we had stick, we had tap, we had rub, we had clap, we had wiggle, we had wave, we had touch. If I was telling you how to cook a meal, then my imperative verbs might be things like chop or slice or mix or stir or add or combine or grate. I ask you should grate some carrot or some cheese or something. So my imperative verbs, my bossy words, are very much relative to the task that we are being asked to do, or we are asking somebody to do. So we're going to try and come up with a bank of imperative verbs. So we're going to try and write as many imperative verbs in a minute as we can, and then your challenge is to try and write some interesting imperative verbs that won't be on my list. So I'm going to write a list too, and you have to write a list. And for every imperative verb that you get that is not on my list, you get a point. So you'll want to go for interesting ones or slightly different ones that you don't think that I will write down. So any that I write down, you don't get a point for, but any that I don't, you do. Okay, so we have 1 minute each to write down as many imperative verbs as we can, but we're trying to get ones that the other person doesn't have. Okay, imperative verbs telling me what to do. Go. How many are you going to get? I think I've got quite a few already. If you're not sure, then think about things that people might ask you or tell you to do. Oh, this is tricky. This is tricky to work under so much pressure. And I just gave you loads as well, and now I can't think of any. Okay, you've got about 20 seconds left. That's not very long. Oh, but that gave me a good idea. I don't know where that one came from. You've got 10 seconds left. That one's definitely linked to that. Oh no, I've already written that one down. And your time is up. I'm just going to rub the start of my last one off because I already wrote it. Okay, let's have a look at the imperative verbs that I came up with. I had shout, tell, sing, go, tidy, run, stand, sit, chop, cut, mix, paint and count. I was counting down. Did you manage to come up with some that weren't on my list? I'm sure if I really thought about it, I'm sure if I really thought about it, I could come up with a much bigger list, but doing it in 1 minute is tricky, huh? Maybe now will be a good time to pause the video and see how many you can write, or take it as a daily challenge and go about your day and listen and see how many imperative verbs you hear over the space of the day. I bet it's more than you think. We've just never attributed them to being that. So all of those imperative verbs can be used in commands. Now, generally, the imperative verb will come at the beginning of a command, and then afterwards we will look at where or when or how. So if I was going to use the word shout, then my command might be shout out your answer. So shout was the thing that we were doing. The thing that I want you to shout is your answer, and I want you to do it out loud. Tell your friend a funny joke next time you see them. So tell is the command. I want you to tell. What I want you to tell is a funny joke, and when I want you to tell it is the next time you see them. So tell came first, the imperative verb comes first, and then we can add additional detail in saying what or how or when. It's a sentence. First and foremost, it's a sentence, so we need to remember capital letter at the beginning, finger spaces in between each of the words. The words are grouped together well, so it's clear that they are words. And then at the end of the sentence, because it's a command, it needs a full stop. So let's have a go. If you don't have something to write with and write on, go and grab something now, pause the video, come back to it, and we'll have a go at writing one together. So let's start with that one. So tell. So we're going to have a capital letter at the beginning. Remember what a capital T looks like? If not, we'll see it in a minute, don't worry. So tell me, me, E by itself, E. Tell me a joke. So that's what. Tell me a joke next time you see me. Next time you see me. Okay, so here's our sentence we were writing together. Tell with a capital T, that was what the capital T looked like if you were unsure. Tell me a joke next time you see me. And then at the end, we need the full stop. So the full stop is like a dot that's big enough for us to see. And it comes at the bottom of the letters, it sits on the line. That's quite important because there are other bits of punctuation that don't come there. So tell me a joke next time you see me. Okay, let's have a go at writing our own. So can you have a go at writing a command? And I will do the same. If you're not sure, then let's use the word chop. So if you're not sure, use the word chop in your command and then think about what and maybe how or maybe when. And if you have got an idea of your own, you can use that. So the word chop is the one I'm going to start with. Remember, it needs to start with a capital letter and then finger spaces in between all of the words and then a full stop at the end. Okay, here's my chop command. Chop up the onions into small pieces. So chop was my imperative verb. It's what I wanted them to do. Chop the onions. So that's what. It's what we needed to chop. And then into small pieces. How? How do I want you to chop them? Chop the onions into small pieces. It could have been chop enough vegetables for everyone to eat. Or it could have been chop up the green beans to put in the freezer. It could have been anything would work. See if you can come up with one of your own. Pause the video and have a go at writing it. I am going to have a go at writing some that you can check for me after. How did you get on with your sentences? Looking at mine, I think I made some mistakes, but that's okay. Mistakes help us learn. Let's have a look together and see if you can help me. So my first one said, grab a banana for your brother. I can spot 3 things that are making me unhappy. Grab. It's the beginning of a sentence, but I didn't use a capital letter. That's okay. I can go back, I can rub it out, and I can add a capital letter in. I can remember it's got to be bigger than the other letters, and that a capital G looks very different to a lowercase one. But that looks better. Grab a banana for. Do we use numbers? No, not unless we're looking at a quantity. And even then, in polite written language, in grammatically correct language, we tend not to. We tend to use the word. But in this case, it's not even the number 4. It just means for them. That's better. Grab a banana for your brother. And then the other thing that's wrong, it wasn't an exclamation. I was asking, it was a command. And then my next one, help me to tidy this mess. There's no reason for all of those letters to be in capital letters. It doesn't make any sense. I didn't choose it as a writer for effect. It just looks a bit silly. So if there's no reason, then we don't need to do that. So it has a capital letter. Now it has all the right capital letters. What's missing though? Exactly. It didn't have a full stop. Because it is a sentence, it needs to start with a capital letter, it needs finger spaces, and it needs a full stop because it is a command. You did an incredible job today. Listen out for commands, and I bet you hear them more than you expect. You'll know that they are imperative verbs, they're bossy ones that tell us what to do, and you'd know how to punctuate them too. You did an incredible job. Have a great day. Hi. So in the story that I read this week, Mrs. Large just wanted 5 minutes peace. So I thought we'd have a look at how to tell the time today. In this session, we are just going to focus on o'clock times and half-past times. We're going to build a clock, we will talk about the clock face, and then we will have a look at o'clock and half-past times. For today's session, you will probably want something to write on and something to write with. If you have a clock or a watch or some sort of clock face that you can use to help you, then it would be useful to have something to refer back to, so you could bring that too. But if you don't, it's not a problem. You can certainly join in without it. To start with, I've got a puzzle that is a clock face. So we're going to have a go at building that. So here is my puzzle. It's made up of 12 different sections, and I'm going to start with section 12 at the top. Hopefully it will make sense why when we're done. But each of the different sections, they all interlink with each other, and obviously as we look at a clock face we can see that the numbers are around the edge. So the clock goes from 1 round to 12, and then there's no more than that, it just keeps going round. So there are 12 hours in half a day, so the hands will go all the way around the clock twice. So as you can see, each different section of my clock has a number on it with 12 at the top and 6 at the bottom. There is then also a set of 2 hands. Now there are 2 hands because there is a slow, tortoise, little hand, and then there's a speedy, long, big hand. Now the long, big hand shows us the minutes, and the little, slow, tortoise hand shows us the hours. So it will be useful to remember that the clock is made up of 12 different sections, 12 at the top and 6 at the bottom, when we come to do some of our other learning. Okay, so we built the clock face on the floor, and it had the 12 different sections and the 12 different numbers. Now, it's very difficult for me to pick that up and show you, so I've got a little one here. And in this case, my hands aren't the best. They are different sizes, but they're not the best. So this one is my longer one. This is my speedy one, my minute one, and then this one here is my slower one, is my hour one. So there are 2 hands on all clocks, a fast minute hand, which in this case is this one, which is longer, and a slow tortoise little hand, which is this one on this clock, and that shows the hours. And then on some clocks they have a 3rd hand, and that one goes really, really quick, and that one is the seconds. So the minute hand will go the whole way around the clock every hour, whereas the hour hand will take 12 hours to go round. It only moves one section in an hour. And then that really, really whizzy one, if there's one of those, that goes round once a minute. If the big hand is pointing at the top, then I want you to remember this. I want you to remember o'clock to the top. Can you do that? O'clock to the top. Okay, so if our big hand is pointing up to the number 12, which is always at the top of the clock, then it's o'clock to the top. And then all we have to do, we know that's o'clock to the top. And then we can just look at where the hour hand is pointing. So in this case, it's pointing to 4. So it's 4 o'clock. It's as simple as that. I could change this and I could move the hour hand o'clock to the top. And it's pointing to the 8. So on this one, it's 8 o'clock. And then I could change it more, or I could do this. O'clock to the top. 10 o'clock. What about if I do this? I feel like this is a bit mean, but exactly, it wasn't mean at all. 12 o'clock. So if the big hand points to the top, then it is indeed o'clock, and it is just the hour that we need to check off. So can you tell me what this time is? Yeah, well done. 3 o'clock. What about this one? 6 o'clock. Well done. 11 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Well done. You're doing such a great job of this. If you can make a clock face, or if you can draw one maybe, then you could have a go at moving them. If not, then I want you to imagine in your head where the hands would be on the clock. I just wanted to show you that if you were going to draw a clock face, so you obviously need to draw the circle, and then I would always start with 12 here, 6 here, 9 here and 3 here, and then I would fill in the gaps, and then that way you know that they'll be sort of evenly spaced, because that will help you when it comes to doing anything other than o'clock. So there's my clock face, look, and because of how I did it, they've ended up equally spaced. And then I would put a centre dot in the middle, and then both of my hands need to come from that dot. So I start drawing from that dot. And like a good way to do this, so you've got one that's reusable, is if you've got like a pen and a pencil and a piece of paper, then you could draw the clock face in pen and write all of the numbers on, and then you could draw the hands on lightly in pencil so that you can practice, and then that way you could rub them out. Each hand comes from the middle, and so if I was doing 2 o'clock, then just giving you a minute so you can think about it. The minute hand is o'clock to the top, so that would be pointing to the top, and my big hand goes from the middle point out to the 12 with a little arrow on it, and then the little hand goes from the midpoint, from that dot, but it goes out just a little bit. It doesn't go all the way. I'll do a mix. I'll draw some and I'll do some on the clock, and either you can join in and draw, or you can, if you've got a clock to manipulate, then brilliant. If not, then think about where those clock hands need to go and you can shout it out at me, and hopefully I'm right. Hopefully you're right too. Okay, let's start with 7 o'clock. Where would the clock hands be if it was 7 o'clock? Absolutely. 9 o'clock. Yeah, little hand pointing to the 9, well done. 4 o'clock. Yep, little hand pointing to the 4. 8 o'clock. exactly, spot on. So o'clock is quite easy to remember if we remember o'clock to the top. Now, the other one that we are going to look at today is half past. So when the hands have gone halfway round the clock, and they always go this way round, they always follow the numbers, and when they've gone halfway round the clock, they'll be pointing from the top to the bottom. So it drops from the top to the bottom. And this here is called half past, okay? So we drop round and it's half past to the ground, okay? So this is half past and it's dropped round and we go down to the bottom, which is number 6. Now, it's not quite as straightforward as this on my clock being 9:30, because the minute hand has gone halfway around the clock. The hour hand needs to be halfway to the next hour. So instead of it going straight at the number 9, it goes in between the two sections. So it's halfway in between 9 and 10. And the way to remember which one it is when you say it, which one it's past, is that you're looking for the last number it went past. So you know that the hands are always travelling this way around the clock. So if we look here, the 9, it went past 9. So this is 9:30. But if I move the hands a little bit, this is 11:30. I can stop at the one it went past, and that will help me with where it needs to be. If we were drawing it on a clock face, then again, it is a little bit trickier in as much as we have to remember that it's gone past it. So it should be halfway in between the two. So that big hand is always going to point to the 6 if it's a half past number, because it's gone halfway around the clock. But the other one should be in between. So this one here, it's gone past the 1. So it's 1:30. So o'clock to the top, half past is round at number 6. We've gone halfway round. So on your clock, can you have a go at showing me 5:30? Yeah, remember it's gone past the 5. 6 is its next one. What about 5 o'clock? Oh, that was mean. What about 5 o'clock? Remember the rhyme? There we go, well done. What about 7:30? Now, if we're really struggling to get to that, there we go, there's 7:30. Oh, there's not 7:30 at all. My bottom hand moved. Let's try again. There's 7:30. It's at the bottom hand is at the 6 and the hour hand is in between the 7 and 8. But if we were trying to do 9:30, let's go for that. And if we were really struggling with what that would look like, just remembering, then we can work it. So here is our clock that shows that shows 9 o'clock, o'clock to the top. That's easier to remember. And then all we have to do is move our minute hand, our speedy fast one, halfway round the clock. So that's going to be pointing there. And then this needs to move on just a little bit in the same direction, following the numbers round. So either we can make it, or we can remember that 7:30 means, oh, 7:30, yeah, number 6 at the bottom, and then that way we can make it work. Let's try a few more. You're getting really good at this. I tell you what, I'm going to cover up the clocks that are at the top and we'll use them to check, but I've got a few cards here. So 6 o'clock. That clock doesn't have any numbers on. O'clock to the top, big hand to the 12 and the little hand to the 6 in that case. 5:30. That was what the clock looked like. It's tricky to show it without the numbers on it, so let's have a look at the clock. There we go, 5:30 was big hand to the 6 and little hand in between the 5 and the 6. 9 o'clock. Big hand to the top to the 12, and the other hand to the 9. 10:30, 10:30. 10:30. You make it, I'll make it. Do it on my clock because better with the numbers on. There we go, 10:30, in between 10 and 11, and 10:30 means to the bottom. And one more, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, remember, o'clock to the top. What a great job you've done. We've looked at o'clock to the top where the big hand points to the 12, and we've looked at 10:30 where it's gone halfway around and it points to the 6. Whatever you do today, enjoy the rest of your day. Great job. Hi, so we are going to have a think about how we can keep our bodies healthy. There are lots of different ways that we can do this, and I'm sure that you will know lots of them. So before we do anything, I put together some of the photographs to jog our memories. So have a little look at those photographs and see whether or not you can work out any of the things that we might be talking about in today's session about keeping our bodies healthy. What sorts of things do you think that we need to do in order to be nice and healthy? Some of them are easy peasy and some of them are a little bit harder. Okay, that is long enough. Let's have a little nosy at the first slide and we'll have a chat about what it is and why it's important. Okay, the first one, I don't know whether or not you got that one, it was a bit tricky, but the first one is washing our hands. Now, washing our hands is important because it makes sure that there are no germs on our hands, because we touch surfaces and things all of the time. So when we're opening a door, we might touch a door handle or the door. When we're climbing stairs, we might use a handrail to climb up the stairs. We might pick up our toothbrush, which is right next to our mouth, or we might pick up a cup, and all of those things can spread germs either to us and make us sick or to other people. Now, there are lots of germs that are around all the time that are absolutely fine, but there are other germs that will make us sick. So we should definitely be careful about washing our hands. We should do it regularly. We should do it before we eat, definitely. We should do it after we've been to the toilet, definitely. And then potentially if we've been outside or we're dirty, sometimes we might consider washing our hands after if we've shaken hands with somebody else. If we shake hands, then their germs will be passed to us, and it depends on their cleanliness as to how clean our hands will then be. So we might not need to then, but we would need to if we'd just shaken somebody's hand and then we were going to eat. But definitely super important to wash our hands, and how we wash our hands is important too, because we could just do a quick dip, scrub, all done, but it wouldn't have got rid of anything. It's super important that our hands must be wet, and then we add soap, and then the soap and the water will react together to make lots and lots of bubbles. This is the best way of washing your hands because you get bubbles. But then the palms, the insides of our hands need washing, the fingers, in between the fingers, and then we need to wash the actual fingers so we can interlock them, or we can wash inside our fingers. Then we need to make sure we wash the back of our hands too, because they get dirty. And then our thumbs, because they don't get done when we do our fingers. So we have to do our thumbs as well. And then up to our wrists, and then we rinse them and we dry them. It's also important that we dry them, especially if we live somewhere cold, or if it's warm on the inside and then it's cold when we are outside. If we don't dry our hands properly, then they get really sore. And if they do get sore, then we might need to put some moisturiser, some sort of cream on them, because that can be an issue. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't wash our hands. Washing our hands, super important. And they reckon we should wash our hands for a lot longer than we imagine. It's 2 rounds of happy birthday. But if you do all the little bits that you need to do, then that will take you a long time anyway. Okay, what was the next one? Oh, the next one was all about washing too. But it was about washing our bodies. Now, it's super important that we wash our face, and then behind our ears and under our necks. But actually, we need to wash everywhere. Now, our faces are important, like everything else, but our faces can get spotty, and sometimes that is because there's a build-up of oils under our skin, especially as we get older. So getting into good habits while we're little is a great thing to do. It's super important to clean our face. My sponge is very soft and I really like the way it feels on my face, and that helps me to make sure that I do a good job at cleaning my face because I enjoy doing it. But it's also important to clean the rest of our bodies too. We need to make sure that we clean our arms and our legs, but under our armpits and in those in-between bits where we don't wash our hands all the time. But when we're having a shower, the water won't just wash it for itself, or if we're having a bath, then that won't just wash it for itself. So we need to make sure that we give it a good wash. And exactly the same way as we did with our hands when we washed them using soap, we should do the same for the rest of our body, and it will help to get rid of any bacteria that might make our skin a bit stinky, but also a bit itchy. It can be uncomfortable if you don't wash your skin. We should definitely do that. What came next? Cleaning our teeth. How many times should you clean your teeth a day? 2. You should clean your teeth twice a day. You should clean your teeth for 2 minutes at a time, which is a really long time. And when you clean your teeth, it's really important that you get to all of your teeth. You have teeth that are down here, that are molars, and they are flat on top. So we need to hold our brush like this and clean them like this. But we also need to get the brush in the side of our teeth and clean them like that. We have them at the bottom and at the top on both sides of our mouth. And then at the front, these ones aren't so wide, they're not so flat, but they still need cleaning front and back. So if we split our mouth down the middle and into top and bottom, then we should spend about 30 seconds cleaning the top bit, the bottom bit, the top bit and the bottom bit. And then our mouth would be nice and healthy. And it also helps, if we get right far in, then it helps to clean the inside of our cheek to keep that healthy too. And also to clean our gums. So the bit that our teeth are in, that's our gums, and they need to be healthy too. And by using your brush nice and high on your teeth, it stops the buildup of plaque, and it also helps to keep our gums healthy too. Now, when I went and did some teaching in Africa, they taught me a brilliant song, and it showed the teeny tiny children how they should clean their teeth. So I thought we'd share it. It goes, clean, clean, clean your teeth, clean them every day. Up and down, in and out, that's the only way. Because when it comes to cleaning our teeth, up and down is just as important as in and out. It's important to look after our teeth because as humans, we only get 2 sets. You have a set while you're little, and then they fall out, and that's okay. And then you get a grown-up set, and they have to last you forever. And forever is a really long time. So it is super important that we look after our teeth every single day. Twice a day, we give them a clean. Remember, up and down and in and out, on the top and on the inside of our mouths too. That one is important. We're not like crocodiles. We don't grow loads more teeth. Let's see what else we've got. Ooh, this one's tricky. It says we have to get enough sleep. Sleep is super important for us as humans because sleep helps us to mend and to grow and recover. So when we are asleep, our bodies repair. So if they've been a little bit poorly, then they might try and fight the bad germs or the infection. If we have done some exercise and our muscles feel sore, then our body will work to try and repair those muscles, and our brains as well. Our brains are under pressure every day because they're doing so much learning and there's so much going on in them. So we need to repair that brain as well. And so making sure that we get good restful sleep helps us to repair both mentally and physically and gets us ready for the day ahead. I always feel super grumpy if I haven't had enough sleep. Maybe you feel a bit grumpy if you've not had enough sleep too. And it can be a really difficult thing to want to do because you don't want to feel like you're missing out. But in actual fact, you'll enjoy things much more if you are well rested and ready for the day. So it is important. Eating well. Eating well doesn't mean only eating just one thing. It doesn't mean that we should only eat apples or that we should only eat beef burgers. We should have a balanced diet. We should have a mix of lots of different things. So our body needs proteins for growth and development and repair of our muscles. It needs calcium for healthy, strong bones. It needs carbohydrates for energy so that we can go about our day and we can play with our friends. And it does also need, it needs vitamins and minerals, and we get lots of those from vegetables, and they help us to be healthy. So they help our skin to be glowy, and they help our muscles and our bones and our brains. Food can be really good for our brains. We do also need some fatty and oily foods. They're good for us too, but we don't need tons and tons of them. And a little bit of sugar or sweet things is okay for us too, as long as it's part of a balanced diet. Do you know how many glasses of water you should drink in a day? Yeah, between 6 to 8. That's a lot. Our bodies actually get some water from the fruits and vegetables and the food that we eat, depending on the sorts of things that we eat. Some fruits and vegetables, so like oranges and tomatoes and cucumbers, are very highly water-based, so we get more water from those things. But there are other things that we eat that aren't very high in water, so we do need to drink plenty of water to keep ourselves hydrated. Now, sometimes I like to have a little bit of something in my water, maybe like a piece of lemon or sometimes some squash, and that's okay. And it does help me to get hydrated, but we shouldn't really be drinking lots and lots of fizzy pop or lots of pop with lots of sugar. And we shouldn't be drinking lots of highly sugared things because it's not as good for us in terms of getting enough water, and it's not so good for our teeth. And we know that we need to look after those. But yeah, that's an awful lot of water we have to drink every day. I hope you do a better job than me. I find that really tricky. Let's have a look at the last one. The last one is exercise. And when we say exercise, it can be anything. But exercise is great for us for so many different reasons. Exercising helps to keep our mind happy and healthy. There are lots of reasons that our mind could be poorly, and exercising regularly can help us with that. Sometimes we get a bit anxious and our tummy feels all knotty and our chest feels all tight, and my head gets super fuzzy when I feel like that too. And so when I get like that, I'll go out for a walk, and getting some exercise makes me feel a little bit better. I make sure that I exercise every day because it makes me feel good. It releases the happy endorphins, like the happy hormones in my body, and that makes me feel great. And I also know that it's doing lots of other benefits for my body too. But keeping a healthy mind is important. I also know that if I do aerobic exercise, if I do something like running or dancing or skipping or something where I get out of breath, then I know that that's great for my lungs and it's great for my heart. And those are the organs that we need to make sure they are healthy, because they are the ones that bring the oxygen into our bodies, which we need for energy. And they are the ones that pump the blood around the rest of our body to keep us going. So that's a super important one. It's also great for my bones and my muscles. And if I'm strong, then I can do anything. I could climb a mountain. I could run a marathon. I did run a marathon. It was really, really hard, but I would do it again because it was a challenge. My body didn't feel so great after that though. That's a lot of exercise. So maybe we should look for moderation. And when we talk about exercise, it should be fun. We should do it because we love it. I go and exercise with my friends because then it's social and we have a chat and we catch up. I exercise with my nephews because we play and we run around and we laugh, and that's fun for everyone. And then I also enjoy going out for a run or for doing yoga or something stretchy, and they're all good for my body in different ways. And finally, they can help our bodies to fight disease. A healthy body is much more likely to be able to fight off the odd cold or infection than a body that doesn't have all of those things that we said we needed to keep our bodies healthy. Whew, that's a lot of things that we are responsible for doing, for looking after our bodies. I'm sure you can give it a really good go. Whatever you do today, try and get some exercise, some water, and don't forget to wash. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Hello there, Angel students. How are you doing? It is an absolute pleasure to spend time with you today, and I'm so very grateful that you have chosen to spend time with me also. Speaking of being grateful, that is exactly what I would like to speak with you about today, and that is the attitude of gratitude. Do you think you have the attitude of gratitude? And being grateful is to be thankful. Whenever somebody does something for you or gives you something, you say thank you, don't you? You show that you are thankful for what that person has given to you, done for you, shown you, taught you. You give thanks. Most of the time, you are willing and you have a readiness to return that kindness. The attitude of gratitude leads to happiness. And I don't know anyone that doesn't want happiness. I know I certainly do. I love to be happy. I love the feeling of happiness. And gratitude helps you to have happiness even more in your life. Towards the end of this video, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I'm grateful for. So maybe as we go along in this video, you can have a think about some of the things that you are grateful for. So let's have a think about some of the things that happen on a day-to-day basis that you may be grateful for. It could be somebody opening a door for you and kindly letting you walk through the door whilst they hold it open for you. It could be you being in a line and somebody allows you to go in front of them in that line. It could be somebody sharing a toy with you or a game with you. It could be somebody helping you with something, or maybe even sharing a snack with you. Those are some of the ways that people do things, show us things, share things with us that we in turn are grateful for. And we often end with saying thank you because we are grateful for what that person has done with or for us. Can you think of something that someone may have done or said or shared with you today that made you feel grateful, that made you feel happy inside, and made you feel thankful for having that person in your life and for them showing you that act of kindness towards you? If you can, you're very lucky. When we always look for the good, we will always find it. So having an attitude of gratitude means that so much more, lots and lots, again and again, you'll find new things to continue being grateful for. Some more examples of things to be grateful for are the air you breathe. We don't really think about it, but we are always breathing and we always have the air to do so. You may be grateful for your lovely, warm, cozy bed, but we're actually going to come back to that one. Remember I said nearer the end of the video, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I am very grateful for. So what about pancakes for breakfast maybe? Now that is something to be very grateful for. Do you like pancakes for breakfast? Also, what about the Wi-Fi that you are using to watch this video right now? Now that's something to be grateful about. Sometimes things happen and we may find it hard to be grateful. We may find it difficult to say thank you because things might not be going exactly how you would like it. For example, imagine if you had your heart set on going to the park this weekend. You knew exactly what you were going to do. You wanted to go on the swings, you wanted to ride your bike, but then the weekend comes and it's raining. What are we going to do now? But there's still always something to be grateful for because we need the rain, don't we? We need the rain. The rain helps the grass to grow. It helps the plants to grow. We need the rain for so many reasons. So we can be grateful for the rain, and we can be grateful to know that we'll still get to go out, maybe just not today. The secret and the magic key is to remember and to try your very best to remain grateful no matter the weather. There is always something to be grateful for. Even when we make a mistake, there is still so much to be grateful for. And the reason why there's so much to be grateful for, even if you've made a mistake, is because it gives you an opportunity to learn from it. It gives you a chance to try again, and it encourages you in knowing that even though you made a mistake this time, because you will learn from it, you won't make that mistake again. Now that is something to be very grateful for. How we choose to respond to something is entirely up to us. And it's a beautiful thing to show gratitude for, that we have the choice to respond, which means that you can respond in any way you want. So if you choose to respond with gratitude, do you remember what I said earlier? The more that we show up with gratitude is the more that wonderful things to be grateful for will show up for us. Having an attitude of gratitude helps us to think about things in a positive way. It helps us to think about things in a good way, in a fun way, in a new way, in a way that is always helping us, in a way that makes us believe and know that things are always working out for us. Things are always working out in the best way possible for us. So the best thing for us to do is to use our thoughts in a positive way and remain grateful. So the more that we practice being grateful, the more that we practice having an attitude of gratitude, means there will be more to be grateful for. And with that, it gives off good feelings. It gives off nice feelings. It gives off powerful feelings of thankfulness, of gratefulness, of winning, of always knowing that something great is about to happen. And when you feel like that, practicing having those thoughts on a constant, everyday basis, every time you see something, every time somebody does something, you find something to be grateful for in it, it becomes something automatic. It becomes something that you are able to do without even trying. So as you practice, like with anything, if you were to practice a new skill, a new sport, a new instrument, with practice comes perfect. With practice comes understanding, and with practice comes knowing. And I just want to share with you a little tip about when you have thoughts that you don't necessarily want to have. So if you're thinking about something and you might find it a bit difficult to find something to be grateful for, remember there's always something to be grateful for. But if you ever find yourself in a situation and you just find it difficult to find one thing to be grateful for, I want you to think about the last thing you were grateful for. Think about exactly what that was. Think about how that made you feel. Think about exactly why you were so grateful for that. And I promise that will evoke that happiness, those nice memories, those good feelings for you to be able to further find something grateful right here, right now, in that present moment. If we can remember that the attitude of gratitude leads to happiness and it leads to having more things to be grateful for, we can find it easier to get into the habit of practicing the attitude of gratitude. And at the beginning, I asked you, do you have the attitude of gratitude? And now that we've gone through a few examples and ways that you can maintain the attitude of gratitude, I'm going to ask you again, do you think you have the attitude of gratitude? Okay, I'm glad to hear it. I'm going to go through some of the things that I'm grateful for. And honestly, there are quite a lot, but I've picked some of the ones that I think I'm most grateful for every day or on most days. These are the ones that are more common for me to be able to go back to. Remember, I just explained if you're having a hard time with your thoughts, if you can't quite come up with something or think of something that you are grateful for in any one particular moment, the thing to do is to go back to another time when you were so grateful for something. Remember that, remember how it felt, and remember why you were so grateful for it. Okay, so are you ready for my list of things that I'm grateful for? Here we go. One of the first things I am grateful for are trees. Trees. I love trees. Trees produce oxygen, which allows and helps us to breathe. Trees provide shade sometimes in the summer when it's too hot, or even in the rain. It will give us a little bit of shelter if we don't have an umbrella or a hood. Trees are very beautiful. Think about trees in the springtime when they're blooming beautiful flowers, even in the autumn when their colours change and they give off those beautiful orangey, yellow, red type colours. They are amazing. Trees are amazing. And if you think about trees and the roots and how deep they go, they're a very beautiful, intricate specimen. So trees is the first one. The second thing that I'm extra super grateful for is books. Books. I love books. I have lots of books. I have books to read and I have lots of books that I can write in. So some notebooks as well. But books can give you knowledge. Books teach you things. Books are very interesting. You can go to books if you need to get answers to things sometimes. And I love books that come with very beautiful pictures for us to look at. So books is my number 2. My next one is sleep. Sleep. I love sleep. I love sleep. Sleep is very good for us. Sleep is very good for our health. Sleep is very necessary for our health. When you're younger, you need sleep to help you grow. Sleep gives us our energy back after a long day. And I personally really love sleep because I have very wonderful, fun dreams. So I always like to know what's going to happen tonight in my dreams. My next thing to be extremely grateful for is waking up. What a beautiful, wonderful opportunity to wake up. It's a brand new day. Who knows what I'm going to learn, what experiences I'm going to have, what fun I'm going to have, who I might meet. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing to be grateful for, waking up. It's a new day. Let's see, what can we achieve today? And what might happen that allows us to exercise the attitude of gratitude? The next thing on my list that I am grateful for is water. Water. How important is water? We as human beings are made up of a lot of water. So I hope you've drank some water today and I hope you drink water every day. Anyway, water. We need water. We need water for lots of things. We need water to stay hydrated, to drink, to wash with, to brush our teeth with, to wash our clothes with, to cook with. Water is extremely important and I am ever so grateful for water. One of my most favorite things to do when it comes to water is swimming in the sea. I absolutely love it. And if I can't get to the sea, it's hardly the same, I know. But I love a bath, a nice warm, cozy, hot bubble bath. The next thing on my list that I am grateful for is kind people. Don't you just love kind people? People that are considerate, people that are nice, people that are patient. The world needs kind people, and I know you're a kind person and I know you're surrounded by kind people. So of course you're extremely grateful for them, as am I. Continue to be kind, continue to show kindness to those that are kind to you, and be grateful for everything they do and everything that you are able to do for them in return. Kind people. The next thing I am grateful for is friends and family. Of course, we have to have friends and family on the list. I am extremely grateful for friends and family. They spend their time with us, they cook and they eat with us, they teach us things, they support us, they play with us. Let me tell you a quick story. When I was younger, my family, we would meet up in a park every summer and we would play rounders and have a huge picnic. Everyone would bring games and food. It was amazing. So friends and family is extremely close to my heart when it comes to practicing the attitude of gratitude. And I'm sure there are lots of your friends and family that you are grateful for as well. And I've got one more to share with you. So last but never least, one of the things that I am grateful for is music. Music, yes, music. I love music. I love music for so many different reasons. Music can be relaxing. Music can help build confidence. Music can make you want to sing along. Music can make you want to dance. Music brings people together, it brings people closer. Do you ever share music and ask your friend if you know this song or that song, or somebody shares music with you? And it's such a lovely feeling, especially when you really like a song that somebody shared with you. There are songs that you might go to when you just want to feel happy, when you just want to dance, when you just want to sing. I love music. I'm extremely grateful for music and the energy that it brings. So that's my list for today. I hope you enjoyed my list, and I hope it made you think of some things that you are grateful for that you may not necessarily have looked at in that way before. So now you know. Now you have an example of how you can send your thoughts automatically into a positive place of gratitude by using the attitude of gratitude and your own personal power of choosing the things that you think about to keep them positive and keep yourself in the attitude of gratitude with all that you do. Please, as you go on for the rest of your evening and the rest of your week, practice the attitude of gratitude and see the happiness, feel the joy that it makes you feel as you become an expert and a master at the attitude of gratitude. Thank you for spending your time with me, Angel students. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Hello everybody, Angel School. And let's start to one breathing exercise first. Hands up, breathing in through your nose. Relax your shoulders, elbow, hands push all the way down. Breathing in, breathing out through your nose. Okay, let's do a quick exercise for your joints. 1 foot wide, wrist and ankles. Okay, change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, warm up your knee joints. All the way down. Stretch your back. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, warm up your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Keep your elbow up. Hands reach out as far as you can. Open up your lung. Help your lung function. Improve your breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One hand higher as you can, one hand lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Follow your elbow, look back. 1, breathing out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Arms straight, relax your shoulders. Slightly bend your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Shoulders down, head up. Warm up your neck. Slowly. Shoulders down, head up. 1, 2, 3. Change. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Relax your shoulders. 1, 2, 3. Change. 1, 2, relax your back. 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now let's practice one stretch. So this one called 正腰椎 to improve your flexibility. Slightly bend your knees, 1 foot forward. And when you feel stretching, focus on your breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you feel easier, try to grab your shoe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change. Lean forward from your hips. Stretch your hamstring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try use your hands, grab your shoe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well done. Relax your leg. So we did the stretching. Now we're going to do one basic kick. So keep your hands on your hips. Leave your right knee up. 1 kick. Keep your legs straight. Bend your knees. And you can see knee up like a knee strike. When you finish, kick, legs straight. When you finish, bend your knees. Then bring your foot back. So let's do 5 times. 1, knee, kick. 2, knee, kick. 3, knee, kick. 4, knee, kick. 5, knee, kick. Okay, change leg. Time to aim. Left knee up, kick, breathing up. Bend your knees, bring your foot down. 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. So this one's a basic kick, tanto, yeah? Like a knee strike and kick. So now we're going to do danpedio. So instead of just kick in the air, this time use your hands touch your shoe. So you keep your face on your waist. When you kick, use your right hand, touch your right shoe. Yeah? 10 times. 1, 2, breathing out when you kick. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, change leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So this time, exactly same technique, but jump, yeah? So you kick both legs. So you kick your right leg first, bend your knees, keep your knee up, then left leg push the floor, kick, yeah? So 1, 2. So you change leg every time. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, change leg. Exactly same technique. Left leg first, bend your left knee, right leg push the floor, and kick your right leg. Okay, 5 times. 1, kick. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2. Okay, let's do the last stretch. So 3.5 foot wide. 1, 2, 3.5. This is the first Kung Fu stance, yeah? Marble, keep your foot point straight. Bend your knees. Kick your back straight. Go down much as you can. Breathing in when you look forward. Breathing out in your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, well done. Relax your leg. Let's practice one more exercise. Then we do 10 breathing exercises. We finish. Last stance. So when you bend your knees, you keep your face on your waist, and bend your knees, and jump up, then jump to marble. 1, jump up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. When you bend your knees, you can put bottle of water on your leg, not falling down. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, this is the first Kung Fu stance. We did the stretching and kicking today. When you're at home, you can do much more, yeah? To do 100. So we only did 10 times. That's the last 5 breathing exercise. Breathing is like healing, you have to repair your body after exercise. You can recover faster. 2 foot wide. Foot going down, head going up, shoulders going down, head up. Release the tension from your neck. Arms straight, fingers straight. Turn your hands till you feel stretching, like pins needles. Breathing in through your nose, collecting all the good energy into your body. Breathing out. Release the tension from your body. Breathing in through your nose. And breathing out through your nose. 3 times, like a moving meditation. 1. Enjoy the breathing. 2. Last one. Yeah. Remember, when you're breathing better, when you do study, it will be much easier. Good for your concentration. Okay, let's finish here today.
Please like and subscribe so you can get more and more lessons.